Never look back, neither for joy, nor to justify yourself, nor to apologize. The world is as it is, and you are who you are. Success doesn't mark the end of the journey, just as failure doesn't close the path. It's the courage to move forward that truly matters. Don't worry about tomorrow, for it will bring its own worries. Each day already brings with it enough challenges to face. Sometimes, our greatest storytellers are our own fears. Don't waste what you have wishing for what you don't have. Remember that what you have now was once something you wished for in the past. It's not necessary to destroy books to erase a culture, just make people stop reading them. Practice self-compassion, for we are all human and make mistakes. If you tell the truth, you don't need to worry about remembering it later. Make friends and keep in touch with people you admire and want to emulate, rather than those you think will accept you more easily. The people you associate with will shape your future. Start saving money and don't waste it on things you can't afford, like luxurious houses or excessive credit card spending. In the end, you'll be much happier. There are always two roads to take, but there's still time to change direction in the long run. It's not worth worrying about what others think of you, because in reality, no one is thinking about you as much as you imagine. The world can be a tragedy for those who feel, but a comedy for those who think. Thinking is the most demanding activity there is, which is why so few engage in it. There are only 3 moments in a person's life: birth, life, and death. They're not conscious of birth, die in pain, and forget to live. To understand the world, you need to step back from it from time to time. If you're not sure, don't act. True love never has a happy ending, because there's no end to true love. Life is like a book, with sad and happy chapters, but all necessary for the complete story. Take good care of your health, for without it, nothing else matters. No amount of money can bring happiness if you're suffering. Always follow your own direction, regardless of what society, friends, or family might think. What others think of you is none of your business. It's not lack of time, but lack of priority. Through discipline, we achieve freedom. To know your enemy, you must become your enemy. Children learn more from adults' examples than from their words. Never ignore contempt. If someone treats you with disdain, they're likely to harm you in some way, whether socially, relationally, or physically. Remove that person from your life. Life is far from over, but it's also very short. If you want to do something, don't wait, but don't sacrifice what you want in the long term for what you want in the short term. This is your world, so shape it, or someone else will. The best thing I ever did was stop telling people what's going on in my life. Be proud of how hard you're trying. In the lowest moments, we realize many things. No one is busy, it's just a matter of priorities. Never force, beg, or chase. Learn how to change a flat tire on your vehicle. If you don't value your time, neither will others. The pain you feel today will be the strength you feel tomorrow. Don't postpone important medical checkups. Time heals almost everything. Give time time. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. If something makes you happy, keep it a secret. If no one helps you, do it yourself. Be selfish with your time, as many people don't deserve it. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Life isn't fair, but it's still good. Those who don't have enough courage to take risks won't accomplish anything in life. Never take on responsibilities that aren't yours. Set boundaries and be selective about who you let into your life. Invest in property, land, or anything you can afford. The fewer possessions you have, the happier and lighter you'll be. Don't let someone teach you a lesson. Leave because you've already learned yours. When in doubt, take the next small step. Be careful who you marry, and even more so who you have children with. Slow down and realize that mistakes are essential to learning anything. Get together while you're young. The older you get, the harder it is to change. No one cares except family. Keep busy, as it's the cheapest medicine and one of the best. Your friends' problems become your problems. The smaller your circle, the less you'll have to deal with. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. A bad phase of your life can begin at any time. Genius is 1% talent and 99% hard work. It's God's noblest work. Save a little money every week or month. Nothing will give you happiness like a financial reserve. Believe it or not, happiness isn't something you postpone for the future. It's something you design for the present. Life passes by very quickly. If you don't stop and look around, you might miss it. The things you think determine the quality of your mind. Do your best and trust the process. The more you work, the luckier you'll get. Your heart will tell you where to go, but it's your head that will guide you safely. Use one without the other, and you'll get lost. Get rid of worries when you get rid of your clothes at night. Often, the lies we believe become the truth. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Never give up on something you really want. It's hard to wait, but it's harder to regret. You can't do great things if you're distracted by small things. Focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. A smart person solves a problem, a wise person avoids it. Most so-called failures are just temporary defeats. Life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Intuition is something ahead of precise knowledge. We can always be kind to the people we care about. Nothing costs as much in life as illness and ignoring an illness. Everything outside of this moment is just imagination. Your life won't improve by chance, but by change. Stay strong even when things start to crumble. I'd rather be a pig farmer understood by pigs than a poet misunderstood by men. Fear exists nowhere but in the mind. You'll never regret telling someone you love them. Do it before it's too late. You can tell more about a person by what they say about others than by what others say about them. To marry means to have your rights and double your responsibilities. You'll be dragged down by envy. Don't be surprised, it's normal. Most of the time, you have to swallow the pain and learn to grow on your own. Trust wisely and not blindly. Here for a good time, not a long time. A fool is known by his speech, while a wise man is known by his silence. One today is worth two tomorrows. Our thoughts make us who we are. Adversity shows who the men are. The lives of the dead are defined in the memories of the living. Never take anything personally. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality. The more you take an interest in others, the more interesting they find you. The only time you should look back is to see how far you've come. A hug is worth more than 1,000 words, as is the opposite of apathy. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. A leader is a dealer of hope. Keep your fears to yourself, but share your courage with others. When you work for someone else, you are entitled only to the work, not to the fruits of your work. True love begins when nothing is expected in return. Don't read a quote and consider it wise, but rather, read a quote and ask how you can better relate it to your life. 50% now is better than 100% never. If it's not broken, don't fix it. You're judged no matter what, so be who you want to be. Wealth is like seawater. The more we drink, the thirstier we become, and the same goes for fame. What Paul says about Peter tells us more about Paul than about Peter. Strengthening the mind is as difficult as strengthening the body. The truth is that everyone will hurt us. It's about finding those who are worth suffering for. Be loyal or stay single. It's simple. Never say maybe when you mean no. When you're angry, stay silent. You don't need to win every argument. Agree to disagree. At some point, you'll realize that no one else has a voice in your life unless you allow it. You're confined only by the walls you build. When you work for someone else, you're entitled only to the work, not to the fruits of your work. Children make so much noise you can't think, but when they leave home forever, the silence is deafening. Nonviolence is a weapon of the strong. No matter how thinly you slice it, there will always be two sides. Everything we dream is fiction, and everything we accomplish is science. The entire history of humanity is nothing but science fiction. If a man doesn't know which port he's sailing to, no wind will be favorable. Live every day as if it were your last, for one day, you'll be right. Only those who can afford not to lie are free. Whoever wants to be a good ruler must first have been ruled. The greatest risk is not taking risks. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Give without expecting anything in return. You need to stop the habit of doubting yourself. Expect change while doing nothing about it. It's like waiting for the train at the bus stop. A blind person is a bad guide until it gets dark. We have two lives, and the second one begins when we realize we only have one. It's not your fault things are the way they are. You can't wait for inspiration, you have to chase it with a club. Remember that 5 years ago, you dreamed of being where you are now. Think about it. If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, then you don't understand it yourself.